Welcome back to Tech of the Month. We're mixing things up a bit this episode, going full send and bringing you some truly shred-worthy mountain bike tech. So sit back, relax, as my good self and fellow Tom, Mr. Marvin, show you the merchandise. First up, the other Tom's got a jolly lovely new long-term bike for you to drool over, once he's actually wiped his own off it, that is.
This year I'm a very lucky young man, as my long-term test bike for MBUK magazine is the Yeti SB120. The SB120 is the brand's short travel trail ripper with, as you might have guessed it, 120mm of rear wheel travel controlled by their signature Switch Infinity link. The eagle-eyed will spot that this isn't a stock build though. Last year I tested the Manitou Matic Pro forks and really liked them, so when it came to selecting a new bike for 2024, I decided to build a bike around a fork rather than building a bike around a frame. Now over in the US, Yeti sell a lunch ride version of the SB120. In the UK we don't get a lunch ride version, but having ridden the SB120 before, I knew it doesn't really feel like a traditional 120mm bike. That's down to the unique Switch Infinity link hidden in the depths of the frame. The main pivot sits on a shuttle that slides up and down two little Fox Kashima stanchions. This kinda simulates the effect of a lower link in a traditional twin link suspension design and lets Yeti designer kinematics to suit what they want. In the case of the SB120, I found it pedals well and definitely has that cliched bottomless feel. So how have I built it and what am I gonna do with it? It's definitely built on the stouter end of the scale. Raceface's turbine alloy wheels are wrapped in sticky Magic Marys, while Hayes' eye-popping Dominion brakes clamp onto floating Magura rotors for the ultimate in grip and control. And these are the posh ones, because they've got a Reynolds carbon brake lever, which is pretty cool. Raceface era cranks have a scuff-proof plate to protect the carbon cranks, and I'm running a Wolftooth transmission-compatible chainring on there, driving the same SRAM XX SL drivetrain I ran on my long-termer last year. I finished the build with a RockShox Access Reaver, because who wants cables, Raceface finishing kit, an SDG saddle and some one-up components bits and pieces too. With such a Gucci build, I'm aiming to keep the bike as consistent as possible through the year, but I know there are a few potentially tasty bits that might land later in the year that will adorn the front of my bike. Keep an eye out on BikeRadar for those. In terms of riding, I'm already out chasing my pals on their 160mm enduro bikes, planning a couple of alpine trips this summer and have no intention of treating it how a 120mm bike should be treated on the trails. Which is best, a coil or air shock? Well, Cane Creek's new Tigon aims to answer that question once and for all by using both in one unit. Yes, the Tigon uses a main coil spring to deliver that fluttery, supple feel we all love about coil shocks. This, combined with the brand's new patent-pending ramp tube technology, helps provide the progression and bottom-out resistance of an air shock. Like a traditional coil shock, you'll still need to get the correct spring for your body weight and riding style, so it's not as easily adjustable as a full air shock. But by inflating the ramp tube up to 30 psi, you can add 20 to 35% more progression than you'd usually get with a linear coil spring. Best of all, you can use a regular shock pump to adjust it, so you won't need to bring any specialist tools for the job. Elsewhere, the Tigon features Cane Creek's long-established double-barrel twin-tube damping technology. The shock features independently adjustable high and low-speed compression, low-speed rebound, and a 2-position climb switch. You do miss out on the adjustable high-speed rebound damping found on other double-barrel air and coil shocks, however. If you want the ultimate in outright damping adjustment, you may be better off looking at those. Of course, the Tigon is heavier than an air shock, weighing in at 794 grams for this 205 by 62.5mm size. But if you want that bump-gobbling coil shock performance on a bike that's less suited to their traditionally linear progression, then the Tigon might be worth a look. Our technical writer Luke Marshall has the Tigon on test currently, so stay tuned to find out his thoughts on BikeRadar.com very soon.
Up until recently, if you wanted a wireless dropper seat post, you had a pretty simple choice: RockShox's revolutionary reverb Axis or Magora's Viron. Both had their issues and are limited in terms of the amount of drop they offer. The reverb is both very expensive and limited to 170mm of drop, which, when you can get posts with 200mm or more for a whole lot less, makes it a tough one to recommend, in spite of its excellent performance. Hopefully though, this new TransX EDP will answer the prayers of many by offering a wireless dropper in a longer, cheaper format. The EDP costs $499 and can be purchased with up to 200mm of drop, trumping the benchmark reverb Axis on both counts. Like the Axis, it is very similar in its construction. The battery clips into the back of the seat post head, and the wireless remote mounts to the bar via a 22.2mm clamp or a SRAM MMX compatible brake lever. Speaking of the lever, it's powered by the same 2032 watch battery as an Access remote and features a textured paddle to improve grip. On the whole, the remote and the post itself are well finished, and even if they're not quite as nice as a reverb, you can't really actually argue for that price. The airspring is adjustable to alter the return speed, and on first impressions it's pretty good, if not quite as rapid as the RockShox. I do really like the little charging case for the battery and that it uses a USB-C cable for charging. We've just wrapped up testing the EDP, so stay tuned for a video review comparing it to its rivals very soon. From taking away cables from your bike to removing weight from it. And in the case of this gorgeous selection from German weight weenies Schmolke, you'll be removing an awful lot of it. Schmolke have spent the last 30 years making some of the most exotic and lightweight componentry money can buy, and in fact, founder Stefan Schmolke was the first to make road bike handlebars from carbon fibre. Here I have the brand's TLO carbon flat bar and seat post, SL79 saddle and an extra light hyper sten. Now, before I get into the juicy details, I know you are all sitting with bated breath to hear the numbers, so here we go. This 740mm bar weighs an astonishing 99 grams. The 27.2mm seat post is just 113 grams. This dainty little 70mm stem is just 65 grams. And the saddle weighs a frankly ridiculous 88 grams. All in all, that's a whole cockpit that weighs just 365 grams. For context, the budget race face handlebar I took off my long-term test bike weighed around 400 grams on its own, so these are really, really light. Now, despite those incredibly low numbers, they're strong enough for mountain bike abuse, even with my 80 kilograms of mass hanging off them. Schmolke offers different rider weight limits for the bar and seat post, so you can actually go a bit lighter than those numbers if you are yourself lighter, or you can ask Schmolke to increase the weight limit to 110 kilograms if needed, though that does come with its own weight penalty. You also get a choice of 1K, so this woven carbon weave, or unidirectional UD weave finishes, and the choice of 3 logo colours for the bar and seat post, while the saddle is available in 3K or UD. The stem is sold by Schmolke, but is actually from brand Extralight and is aluminium, not carbon. It is stunningly machined within an inch of its life to save weight, and material has been even shaved off the bolt heads. While they will lighten your bike, as you guessed it, they're also going to lighten your wallet. Now, depending on your chosen spec, prices for the bar range from 315 to 425 euros, the seat post from 425 to 575 euros, the saddle from 275 to 300 euros, and the stem is 199 euros. That is an awful lot of cash, but then weight saving has never been cheap. This little lightweight lot is testing for a little weight weenie project I have in the works, so stay tuned for that in the coming weeks and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out. It's going to be an absolute banger. That brings our little tech shred to a close. What was your favourite entry this month? Let us know down in the comments. And if you've seen something weird or interesting recently that you think we need to get our grubby paws on, we'd love to hear about them too. Remember to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next one.